Welcome everybody. Jackpot Racing Algoa Cup weekend it is the start of this Friday, and we're out here in Port Elizabeth. Of course, look forward to the 9 races on the turf, and it's super weekend as there's 4 racing, 4 charity, and it's only charity that's going to win you. Well, when I say only, of course we hope you all win too, but charity is going to be the big winner. To remind you about our social media action, that Waited to Win's our Twitter handle. We've got a WhatsApp number as well. You can send your name and email address to that number. Admin will add you to be part of our group. We also, of course, on Full Racing TV, not forgetting we're on DSTV 240. All right, so we've got both Darren Burrows and Neil Pretorius as well on the line. Good to have him on our Waited to Win show. He debuts here today, and nice to hear from him. Again, we haven't spoken in a while, but like to hear what he knows about what's going on that side of the world and give us some more information. Let's get started with Darren Burrows first. Darren, good morning on this Friday morning, and hopefully it's a cozy card, so to speak.
It's quite a competitive card, Clyde. My pick 6, I did play quite wide. But, we'll try our best, and I think we'll find a couple of winners.
All right, tell us about how they're priced up at the first race. I see they've got Flowers of Nike priced up at 3-1, and Emily's Spirit is at 4-1 at the moment. How do you see them running?
Well, I thought between numbers 4, 5, 8 and 10. Kilmer Vague, good debut. I know it was a 5-horse field, but we've seen one runner, one winner from that form line. And then Burning Moon, she's a Pomodoro. She's going to love this step up in trip, should be competitive. And Flowers of Night, the drop in trip and the blinkers on should be right there.
Okay, so quite a few in the race, the first race. Neil Pretorius, I trust you can hear me and that you well.
Yeah, good morning, Clyde. Morning to all the viewers out there. Lovely days racing, tough card, competitive, but just for the viewers to know, we've had the last 7 days, 23 mils, and overnight 8 mils. So the going has been posted up as a pen reading of 24, and it's good to soft going. Okay, well, that's good news because it's a nice sting out of the ground as well for the horses. And I'm hoping that, Neil, I know you study form very hard and you focus a good 48 hours at least before the meeting. I see there's a first timer that has a positive comment in here, Zayan. I'm not sure if you've heard anything in the first. Clyde, we get messages from Jean Nel. He's got a little group that he sends messages to as well. And he just basically said the daughter of Global View wants further. She's putting up good work at home. He's hoping that she's got a money chance, but no big confidence coming through as a win bet. I think that Darren's touched on the runners for me, 5, 4, and 8 in the first.
Okay, well, that's race 1. Thanks for that. Let's have a look at the suggested selections from the Waited to Win team. We'll put that up now, race number 1. Daryl Marie's particularly keen in the first as an opener on number 5 here. Flowers of Night is the one to beat. On to the second race, important now because we need to get bipods up and running. It's a 1,000-metre sprint. It's a handicap at 95 level, fillies and mares. Fedra, in terms of the markets, all the rage, is trading at 9 to 10. Darren, can we bank that?
Close to a banker, Clyde, but she has gone up in the ratings. She hasn't put a foot wrong in the Eastern Cape, 6 wins in a row. She is worse off. If you go back 5 runs, she beat Stolen Kiss. She's 12 kilos worse off at the weights. And when she beats Civil Rights, she's 6 kilos worse off. But in saying that, she is very progressive. She just keeps winning. So Fedra and Stolen Kiss for the shortlist.
Okay, so you fancy Stolen Kiss, trading around 8 to 1 as well. Neil, how would you like to own Fedra, winner of 6 out of her last 7 starts?
Yeah, unbelievable filly. That's the daughter of Vercingetorix. Course itself is 4 from 4, Clyde. And yeah, she's the one to beat. Just to take note there that Sharon Kotson did say when chatting to Nadine that Federa's had the African horse sickness now. And although it's an ideal race for her, today they'll decide whether they're taking her to Cape Town for a few races. And I think they should do that. She's good enough to take them on at the Cape season. For me, she's a banker. I think she'll win. And I'll make her biggest danger number 4, Civil Rights. That's 6 kilos better off. But I still think they're not in the same class as number 2, Fedra.
Okay, so Fedra, all the rage. Let's go and have a look at our suggested slides here. Race number 2 now. You guys can have a look and see what you think. And here we go. We're going with Daryl Marie. He's recommending a PA. I beg your pardon, a bipod. Interestingly enough, he's added the 5 in with the 2 Fedra. So he's going 2 and 5 by banker 8 in the second leg, by 2 and 3, by 5 and 9, by 1, 2, 3, 5, 10. by 1, 5, 9, 10, and 14. And he's willing to spend 400 Rand. He wants to take it twice. So Daryl recommending that play. Welcome back to Weighted to Win. Third race now, maiden class field. At line up over at the 1600 metre mark. They jump at 1:30, place accumulators. And market recommending, Darren, I'll chat to you about Green Mandarin and Perfection, 7 and 8, suggesting an absolute 2-horse race, 11 to 10 and 8, 17 to 10, and 10 to 1 bar those two. Would you agree with that?
I do agree with that, Clyde. There's not much other form in the race. Perfection showed good improvement in his second start. He was beaten by a Cape Town Raider who was all the rage that day, and he did challenge him at the 200. So Perfection and then Green Mandarin returning after a bit of a break, but should be competitive.
All right, well, Neil, right now, Keegan de Miller can do absolutely nothing wrong, and he's taken the ride on Perfection. Which of the two do you prefer, Neil?
Yeah, I'll side with number 8, Perfection. But Clyde, let me just openly state that I don't like this race at all. I won't be surprised if we get a real upset in the leg of the place accumulator. 8, Perfection came on nicely last time, but first time out, nothing whatsoever. And the second time, when it did improve, started 100 to 1. So there was no confidence there. Lovely to see Keegan de Melo engaged. That's a bit of a jockey strike. Glenn Cotson's runner, number 7, Green Mandarin, hasn't raced for 5 months. You can't be confident about that. Young horses, when they have such a big break after one outing, always have a bit of a question mark. So for me, it's more wide open than just the betting suggests. I will be including Duncan McKenzie's runner, number 2, Opening Ceremony, at 14 to 1 into my place accumulator. This horse comes back in trip. They tried the further last time out. It never enjoyed it whatsoever. The feedback from Louis Makotwa, I was there on that occasion, it was too far. They've come back to a mile. And I think that 2 Opening Ceremony could run into the money. Go wide, first leg of the place accumulator.
Okay, that's Neil's suggestion. Thanks, Neil. So you don't like the race too much. I see there is a comment from the Kotson stable about Green Mandarin, and the computer form, they've commented doing well. Let's have a look at what the recommendations are then for this race now. We'll put that up for you. And we'll go with Daryl. He's going straight up banker the 8, by banker 2, by 5 and 9, by 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, by 1, 5, 9, 10, 14, banker 10, and 1, 6, 8, and 11. So as you would have noticed, Daryl Marie been busy for the first half of the card, and we'll get the other guys' recommendations in a little while. All right. Pick 6 time on Algoa Cup day, and this first leg of the Pick 6 happens to be a handicap for fillies and mares run over 1,400 metres. Be sure to be on by 5 past. From a market perspective, they got the Kotson runner, and we danced as outright favourite at 2 to 1. You can get 5 to 1 and better about the others. Which way are you going, Darren?
Well, and we danced definitely one for the shortlist. You know, she beat Santa Teresa 3 lengths, so she's shown good improvement. But there is a horse at 10 or 12 to 1, Flame Flower. First run in the province. But whenever they tried her over 18, 2,000, she didn't see it out. I like that they're dropping her back to 1,400 from a 1 draw. If not in need of the run, I think she'll run a nice race.
Let's bring Neil Pretorius in and discuss the first leg of the Pick 6. Always a crucial leg, isn't it, Neil? I mean, one never really wants to go out the first leg, and it's the kind of day that I think you can get a healthy return this afternoon.
Yeah, I think the dividend will be big this afternoon, Clyde. And I've taken a chance. I've gone short in the beginning stages and I've loaded up a little bit later. I was sitting on the fence with regards to bankering number 3, and we danced. I do think that the Pathwalk filly will win for the Sharon Kotson stable. She's gone up to 6 points. But let me tell you, she didn't just win last time out. She destroyed her opposition last time out. The feedback from jockey regular pilot Louis Makotwa was outstanding. And I think it's just a case of going through the motions again. For me, the only danger in the race is number 8, Dame of Flames, and that's because it now received 6 kilos from And We Danced for a 3 3/4 length beating last time out, and apparently he's doing well at home. But for me, very bullish about number 3, And We Danced.
Okay, and we dance. Thanks. Both are keen. Perhaps 1 or 2 dangers along the way. I've also got Daryl Marie's Pick 6. So Daryl and Neil and Darren. Let's take a look at them quickly and see which way you guys want to go. We'll leave it up for you. We'll start with Daryl. He's going wider. He's going 2, 3, 8 and 11 in the first leg. No bankers his side by 5 and 9. By 1, 2, 3, 5, 10. By 1, 5, 9, 10, 14. by 3 and 10. And no chances at the back. He's going 1, 3, 5, 6, 8, 11, and 14. That total perm costs 2,800 Rand. Of course, you can spend whatever you want in terms of whatever you want to afford today. But that's from Daryl. Around Darren Burrows' side, he's gone 2, 3, 4, 6, and 8 in the first leg, by 2, 3, 5, and 8, by 1, 2, 3, and 10, by 7, 10, 11, and 14, by 3 and 10. At the back, he's gone 1, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 14. And he comes to 2,560 Rand for a percentage of that perm. And Neil's pick 6, well, he said, as you heard, he's going with light to start with, 3 and 8. Hopefully he can get through that, because then he's got a big chance with 2, 9, 11 the second leg. Third leg, 1, 3, 5, 7, 10. The fourth leg, 1, 2, 7, 8, 10. By 1, 3, and 10. And the last leg, 1, 3, 5, 6, 8, 14, and 15. You would have noticed no bankers from either of these, our expert tipsters, and Neil's perm 3150. Again, remember, you can take whatever percentage one can afford to. On to race number 5. It's a 1,400 handicap in this race. A reminder for those of you on social media, if you're on Twitter, @Weighted2Win's the handle that you need to use to engage with us. We really would appreciate it. We also got a WhatsApp number that's on the screen that you can make a note of as well. And of course, we have multiple platforms in order for you to gain access to the information. Well, let's chat with Darren Burrows and Neil Pretorius. They're on the line, and as you may have heard, those that didn't, there's been a bit of rain. The Pens at 24 out at Fairview on the turf track, and there's some give in the ground, which is great to see. Bold Resolve, let's start with that, Darren. I thought won very impressively last time. I like the way Richard rode in terms of switching off this time, and with a lot of horse left when winning. What do you think?
Well, he is up in class here, Clyde, so I haven't included him. I did like him last time out. I thought he was in the right race to win. Keep It Secret. Now, he's a Cape Town Raider. Last time out, that was a good effort. I think that form line's going to stand up. We've seen a winner. I wanted all from that form line. And I think he'll go close. I have included Adios Amigas from the Candice Bass Robinson stable. He's got decent form. And then Mr. Fitz, interesting runner. First run in the province. But not an easy race.
Yeah, not easy at all. There are a few in here, I guess, they've got to have chances. Even a horse like Moon Game, Neil, I mean, I was impressed with the way he's been winning of late.
Yeah, Clyde, this is a horse that every time it comes to races, we try and find something to beat it. Look at the starting price, 4-1, 72, 92, and it wins on its coconut. It's 2.5 kilos better off today for 1.7 length defeat previously with Bold Resolve. So I think it will hold Bold Resolve this afternoon. Moon Game is my first choice in the race from number 9, Bold Resolve. Then I'm putting in Candace's runner, number 2, Adios Amigos. And I like a little bit of what Darren just said now about number 5, Keep It Secret. There has been a few whispers in the last 24 hours about Muzi McIanny's mount in race 5, number 5. I haven't included it yet. And then I also want to tell you that Jean Nell's message this morning said his best runner on the day would be number 3, T'Challa. So from the Jean Nell stable, their best runner on the day is race 5, number 3. Maybe add that to your selections if you haven't included it as yet.
Okay, and Chase Bajan back in the country now. Rode a winner, of course, yesterday. So maybe T'Challa is perhaps worth considering. Let's put the recommended slides up now for you guys so you can have a look at what they want to do. And they've got a jackpot, cumulative jackpot between them, and 2, 3, 5, 8, 9 in the first leg, by 1, 2, 3, 5, and 10, by 1, 5, 7, 9, 10, 11, 14, and 3 and 10 at the back. That's a total spend of 350 Rand. Let's chat about the 6th race now. It's a stakes race. It's over 1,600 metres, listed event, of course. And Kaya's Hope is in here, a winner of his last start. A horse that won very, very impressively, that Keegan de Mello is riding again. From a market perspective, let me just give you an idea. Kaya's Hope is favourite, top of the boards at 33-10, was this morning when we were doing the show. 3 Iconic Destination, second choice at 7-2. And then Grinkov's got to be an interesting runner at 9-2. I want to talk to you about Grinkov. We know about this horse, Darren. We've selected a few times. How do you rate and up against a horse like Kaya's Hope?
I think Grinkov's the horse to beat. He has been gelded. He's rested since his KZN campaign. When he won 2 on the trot, he was very impressive. And then he cast 3 shoes in the Golden Horseshoe, put a line through that effort. And last time out, maybe a bit disappointing, but he was only beaten 4.5 lengths by Cousin Casey. I think he's got a bright future, and I'm going to rate him the horse to beat. I would include Kai's Hope, Iconic Destination, and Prevalence.
The Cotsons are expecting a big day. I'm talking about the whole family, of course. I'm sure, Neil, that Glenn's expecting a big afternoon and hoping to start with Grinkov.
Yeah, I think Glenn holds a key to race 6 this afternoon. It's a tough race, this, and I never included Grinkov in my pick 6, but if I do play one and add one, I definitely will. The money has found betting support, 6-1 yesterday, 4-1, and it's shortened even slightly more. I see it's now back to 9-2. But that's from the Cotson's table. My first choice in the race is also from the Glen Cotson's table at 14-1, gone out 16-1. Is number 7, Famous and Rich. I think we'll see and hear a lot more of this horse in the Cape season. I think he's a Cape Derby prospect, and I really like what I see about this horse. He's got strong form lines as well, and he'll be running on late this afternoon. He's drawn out wide. The faster they go, the more you'll see of number 7, Famous and Rich. He's my first choice. I think we have to keep an eye on number 5 in the race as well, Alice Moraes from the Brett Crawford stable, Louis Makotwe in the irons, and then the form line of Charles Dickens as well. Don't just forget number 3, Iconic Destination. It ran second behind Charles Dickens, and that's enough to make you prick your ears and include as well. A difficult race for me. Try and go as wide as you can here, but I respect what Darren Burrow said about the 2. I think Glen Cotson might just run first and second with a 16-1 shot, and then number 2, Grinkov at 4-1.
Interesting, good value to be had about Famous and Rich, Neil, trading at around 14-1. And that's what we like to hear. We want those double-digit horses because that's where we get the value. All right, well, let's put that up for you guys. Or just recommend the following. And Darren Burrows would like to take a place all to come into a win, where he's going Grinkov a place here, into Han Solo a place later, and Cliff Top the win. So he's quite keen on that. That's his recommended all to come play on the tote for the day. Well, one of the best races that part of the world is the Algoa Cup, and it's over 2,000 metres, 350,000 rand. They run this for a listed event, and it's attracted a good card again. As always, we see the Cape Townians raid and come in, and a lot of the time take a hold. But I guess the locals have got a strong hand too. Darren, what's your take?
The locals do have a strong hand this year. I thought Han Solo, though, of the Cape Town horses, the horse to beat. Tried the 2,000 metres last time out. He actually won the Settlers, and he got demoted after objection. I think he'll run a big race in this lineup. The future is bright. Bottom weight, 3 draw should be right there. Never Ending Rain's one for the shortlist, and I've thrown a horse at 16-1 in Peace in Our World. I think he's capable of running a big race here.
A stable on fire at the moment, Neil, is Candice Bass Robinson. They're absolutely flying right now. They've got this horse Arctic Drift in here as well. Give it any sort of chance, Neil?
No, not really, Clyde. Yeah, you're right about her stable firing. I follow her in the Western Cape all the time. This horse hasn't won for 398 days, so I can't see it winning in this type of company, with all due respect. I do think that Han Solo is the horse to beat. Was 8-1, now shortened into 6-1. On the course, it's run 1 start, 1 win, and Calvin Abib knows the horse well. It retains a ride this afternoon. I think that is the horse to beat. I think the biggest danger will be the stablemate, number 8, Follow the Star. Also, the quicker they go, it will be running on. This horse has got a hell of a turn of foot. Loves the course. 5 runs for 4 wins and 1 second at this course. So I think that's enough to make a person take note of. So 8, Follow the Star, danger. And then just to tell you that if you do like 1, Mount Anderson, you have to respect 2, Grazing in the Grass, as well as number 7, Never Ending Rain, purely because they were trifle unlucky behind Mount Anderson last time. They were both squeezed for galloping room. And wherever Mount Anderson finishes today, I think these will finish even closer. But for me, I think Glen Cotson with number 10, Han Solo, first choice. And I do like the value of his other runner, number 8, Follow the Star.
Yeah, very interesting. Glenn's got a strong hold in this particular race. Interesting enough, from a betting perspective, the locals dominate because Kelly Mitchell's Mount Anderson's favourite at 11-2, weak favourite, and 6-1 about Alan Krev's grazing in the grass as the second favourite. I spoke to Nino Podesta, funny enough. We were having a chat, and he tipped this horse Follow the Star. He said, tell the boys they can have a strike. So Nino's tipping that. All right, let's have a look. This is the Algoa Cup. This is what the guys want to recommend that you do. We'll put that up for you now, and there's an exacta box. It is that wide open, so 1, 5, 7, 9, 10, 11, and 14. And I'm worried you left out Nino's horse, Follow the Star, in that exacta. Maybe we need to add it in. This Pinnacle Stakes draws a very interesting field. It's run over 1,100 metres. In terms of the best weighted column, I see that they've got whatever next as the best weighted horse in the race, ahead of horses like Cruise Control, Captain Tatters, Regimental, and What a Winner, which does worry one that is not where there's a horse that we've heard about or been speaking about, Clifftop, not in the best weighted column at all. So maybe behind the handicapper. What's going on there, Darren?
Well, Clyde, this horse Clifftop, he's got a tendency to over-race. When they put him 1,200, they try and get him to settle, but he always throws his head around. And I believe that the drop in trip's going to suit. And as long as he settles into a stride, because they're going to go fast, I think he'll finish his race off much better than he has in his last two starts. So the fact that Clifftop's receiving 4.5 kilos from Cruise Control, I'm leaning towards him to beat Cruise Control and whatever next for the placings.
Okay, so you Clifftop man. Neil, which side are you going?
Now, I'm a big fan of number 3, Cruise Control. I think that's going to be our next local champion here. 2 out of 2 since being gelded. It's got more to do a little bit at the weights, but pure class. You know, when this horse won last time out, you got the goosies because he absolutely demolished the field on that occasion. He did beat whatever next by 3.5, but whatever next now is only 2.5 kilos worse off. Last time out, it was 9 kilos worse off. So it was actually quite a good run from number 1, whatever next. I make him the biggest danger to number 3, Cruise Control. Obviously, utmost respect for the 10 Clifftop, as Darren pointed out. It's like a third run after rest and gelding as well. I just need to see this horse kick and find in the latter part of the race. And I can tell you, number 3, Cruise Control, kicks throughout. That is a serious, serious horse in the making. And we will see him, I think, in the summer season in the Western Cape.
Thanks, Neil. Thanks for the heads up about Cruise Control. I look forward to seeing how he runs today. It sounds like a very impressive sort. Let's have a look at what we're going to do now. And this is the 8th and final leg of the pot. Well, the local boys, the Weighted to Win team, Daryl and Darren, are quite keen on Clifftop, and they're recommending Clifftop is the right one. So the last is 1,200 metres, a run-em up a straight. It's a classified stakes, and in the race, best weighted horses like Crown Plaza, Crackling Rose, 5 and 6 and 9. They sort of ride up there. Question is about Gavin Larena. He's taken the ride for the Cotson Yard on Federal Reserve, number 1. Debuts out Port Elizabeth side, and fairly solid form from a Western Cape perspective, I thought. Darren, what do you think?
Yes, you know, he is a maiden in a classified stakes, and it looks like he may be a little bit better over further, but he's definitely one to include. Crackling Rose had good Western Cape form, first run in the province. Globe Tonic was a good maiden winner last time out, more to come. I thought the value was picture the moment. I was impressed with the way he won last time out, and I think even with that penalty, has to go in as well as Torero. Tough race.
Yeah, it's sounding hard. You've added quite a lot of horses there. From a market perspective, Neil, I can tell you that the market's not too concerned that Federal Reserve is a maiden. They've got their top of the boards at 5-1 at the moment, but it does sound like an open race. What do you make of it?
Yeah, you got to go as wide as the budget can allow you. If you have played small early on in your Pick 6 Go field, even you can get a big result. My first choice is Cliffy Miller's runner, having its first run for him, number 6, Crackling Rose. Cliff is very excited about getting this filly into his stable. Richard's aboard this afternoon. I think that's a jockey strike. Richard doesn't often ride for that stable. And the form line is pretty solid. That's the one they all have to beat at the back. All the runners which Darren have mentioned, I think fit into my sort of quartet, including number 4, Picture the Moment. There's definitely more to come. And that was the talk of the town last time out. They backed it in from 16-1 into 10-1. And there was good feedback after the race. And then I suppose you've got to look at the maiden in the race, number 1, Federal Reserve for Glenn Cotson. Still a maiden, that's a bit of a question mark, and never really been closer than 2.5 lengths, but definitely one to include. As wide as the budget can allow at the back, and also put in the 5 Crown Plaza. That's got definite chance, although it seems to prefer the Polly.
All right, Neil, thank you very much for your time and coming onto the show. We really appreciate it. Send our regards to your colleague Nadine. You guys out on course finding the winners for us as you're the eyes on course. It's always important, as you've always said, to watch them in the flesh. And a message from our makeup artist whom apparently you employed many years ago, Neil Urasha. She said, Neil Pretoria still? I said, of course he is. So she sends her regards to you.
Thanks very much, Clyde. Gee, that goes back a long time. I think it was 2010. Lovely lady. I'm glad to see that she proved me right by picking her out of a dozen of those that applied for the job. So well done to her.
Well, she's made us look a lot better than we really do. So anyway, thanks for that. Let's take a look at what the selections are. The 9th and final race, race 9. We're taking exactas 1, 6, 8, 11 and 14. That's the recommended play at the back. And that takes care of the Tab for Racing Algoa Cup meet. Hope it was a good one for you. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. We look forward to the 4 Racing for Charity weekend. It's going to be super.